So in this next section, Culture Fits is outdated, hire for culture add. Our panelists will answer these questions and explore how leaders rethink hiring strategies, attract talent that will bring new energy and ideas, and create workplaces where individuals thrive performance. Let's welcome our moderator, Genevieve Carey, founder of PEO and guide of HR and esteemed panelists. We have Christina Suarez, the founder of Soulware Retreats. Beth Ryan, executive director and founder of Stepping Forward LA. Catherine Tumarin, the founder of Catalyst Branding Strategy, she's not here, just kidding. And Shari Leith, the author, keynote speaker, and attorney at an Perfect Life LLC. Please welcome them to the stage.
Woo! Thank you, everyone. I'm Guinevere Curry, and I will be moderating and also joining the panel. So, question for you guys. Most companies, they hire for culture fit. How many of you have hired for culture fit? Raise your hands. Oh, come on. I know it's most of you out there, right? Yeah. So what you're actually doing is you're hiring for familiarity. And familiarity, well, that's comfortable, right? So that actually stops your business from growing, if you ever think about it that way. Because everyone thinks the same. They execute the same. They solve the problems the same. What you're doing is you're limiting your performance. So what you should be doing is hiring for culture add. And Beth, I'd like to hand it over to you. What does that actually mean?
So culture add is, making sure that you're not hiring the same type of people. Like everyone thinks alike and acts alike. You definitely want to add for core values and shared vision and mission. But it's really about inviting people that have different perspectives to add to the conversation of what you're trying to accomplish together.
And how do you know your culture actually needs more of XYZ?
I think you can tell in your conversations and your meetings and your discussions and your programs, what's missing and what the conversation needs to be and who is missing in the room, right? If everyone's like, oh yeah, Beth, that's a great idea, and we're doing that and we've been doing that for a long time. It also is really helpful when you add a new voice or a new employee to really listen, because their perspective is fresh and it's new and they're seeing things that you've been doing over and over and over again, and some people on the staff don't even know why you're doing it. So it's really important that you're listening and checking in, especially with your new employees, to make sure that that new, fresh perspective is being heard and implemented when possible.
Yeah, it helps with innovation as well, right? So Sherry or Christina, feel free to answer this. Where have you seen culture fit fail in your own experience?
Well, I believe culture fit fails when we just add for culture and we don't continue to connect after the ad is done. And I'll touch on that a little bit later and give a bit of my background a little bit later, but I am a connection expert, connection coach. So what I do is I go into companies who are trying to build this culture fit and help teach them how to then connect.
I've tend to notice that when people, when companies have to scale really hard, really fast, they tend to do the culture fit, grab all the jabronis in there, and like we all know the good old boy club, and they do. They hire them to produce more and do more and be yes people, yeah. And what happens? They scale really fast, really high, really fast, and then all of a sudden people get burned out. They get sabbaticals. Yeah. And then you're stuck again. Same problem.
Yeah, exactly. So that goes to our hiring shift area. So what signals do you look for that someone is actually a culture add? And I'll ask that to Beth.
I actually, Pat shares a very similar vision to me, and we tend to say yes at the same times and no at the same times. So it's really important when we're interviewing that we really look for those differences and the different experiences, because Pat and I will go along the same road. We'll be side by side and very happy about it. But we have a gentleman on our team who tells us, no, I don't think we should be doing that. I think that we should be doing this. And I really respect and appreciate And so you want to kind of ask questions in the interview that really see, how do they feel? And will they speak up to you? Even though you're the boss, you don't want everyone just to be yes people.
Yeah.
You really want people to bring their strengths and their perspective. And, we hire foster youth that age out of the system, and we really make sure that everybody has a different experience, even though they've experienced foster care. They've been put into foster care for different reasons, and we want to make sure that all of those voices are represented, and that they're the ones that are running the programs and connecting with the young adults. So we want to make sure that they feel that they have a good representation in our team to make sure that the programs are aligned with what they need.
Do you guys know that in an interview process, your decision is made in the first 10 minutes?
Even sooner.
Maybe even sooner, right? And that's because you're looking for likeness. Can I get along with this person? Is this person going to fit in with my team? But what you really need to do is spend time organizing what you're going to be interviewing for and create a foundation of questions, and also how you rate them too, right? So every person that comes in and has that interview with you is experiencing the interview the same way, and you're actually able to compare the people equally, not because, oh, I really get along with this person, I could see them be my new BFF, right? So question for you ladies, how do you avoid hiring people you just like? And I'll hand it over to Christina.
How do I avoid hiring people that I'm just like? Well, when you're doing the interview process, or you're, looking at different people to work with, see if they're aligned with your values, what your mission is, and see, intuitively, I see if it's how they trigger me. Is it to challenge me? Is it to make things innovative? Or is it to piss me off? Like, what is it? Where I am in all of this? And will they fit with that? So that's the fit part. And then the adding and seeing where they come from, seeing where they're going, what their ambitions are, why they get up every day out of bed, all of that. That really adds to the goals and the motivation and the inspiration that goes along with when you're hiring someone, when you're choosing someone to work with.
Yeah, I think a lot of hiring managers at every level, they forget to really stop and ask, what is it I really need? What's the gap? What am I trying to fill? And really hiring for that, defining what you're really looking for. That's the first step, I think. And then replacing, I don't like them with, can they do this here? Ask yourself that, right? Can they do this here? And then my other point is test for thinking, not just experience. How are they going to actually think about the problems that you're trying to solve? And what's their experience along with that, but not just the experience. Do you have anything to add, Sherry?
One of the things I learned from a former boss of mine, I used to practice as a litigator, and our managing attorney, when he would hire someone, he had the person, whether or not they were applying for a job as a receptionist, IT, or a litigator, he had everyone in a certain department. I mean, everyone in the office couldn't do it, but he had everyone represented interviewing that person. So the receptionist was interviewing the litigator. The paralegal was interviewing the litigator. A junior attorney interviewing the senior. And this way he received different feedback from people, and he got different answers. It's amazing what somebody will tell you that they don't tell the big boss. So because of that example, that's what I do as well, that I'm not the only one. I want to know what this person's telling you, and what do you think based on your experience.
I love that. So they always say, you're growing when you're in an uncomfortable stage, right? So I would push you all when you're in your interviewing, are you feeling uncomfortable? Are you getting to a point where you're not hiring because this person is like you, but you're actually getting some information and growing from them? I love it when I learn something new when I'm interviewing somebody. They bring something that I don't know to the table. But it's a shift. It's simple, but it's uncomfortable. So stop hiring people you feel are right, and start hiring people that are going to actually make your business better. So Sherry, what happens when you actually hire someone who challenges the norm?
So when you hire someone who challenges the norm, the idea sounds good, but when they come in, it could cause friction, right? So I said I'd give you a little bit of my background. I promise you this will be quick. So I'm known as the woman who flips the box. The system that I've created is called Flip. And the reason it's called that is because by background, I had been orphaned as a baby, and I was found in a cardboard box. I don't know my birth date. I didn't have any identifying information. And in 2023, I traveled across the U.S. I shared a meal with a stranger in every state because I was looking for a connection. I didn't realize that until I did this. But what I found is something magical happened between California and Connecticut. I had symbolically taken that box and flipped it, and it became a table where connection was found. And from this method of flip the box called flip, is something I talk about and share with business owners to teach them how to create connection for their clients, their team, and their stakeholders. And I'll talk about that more tomorrow in a keynote. Check your times. I think it's like 9 or 9:45. But it's a 4-part system, very quick today. F stands for focus. Don't focus on you, focus on who? Focus on the candidate. Why did you hire them? What are the things that they bring to the table that are different than the norm? Don't focus on you, focus on who? L, don't listen to reply, listen to identify. So many times as leaders, we listen and we think, okay, I'm going to reply and tell them why they're not doing it right and what our systems are and where they're going wrong. Instead, listen to identify. Identify what they're questioning. Identify what the meaning is behind their words. I, don't choose control, ignite the soul. Meaning as leaders, we're good at controlling. We control really well. Ignite the soul. I mean, ignite the person in front of you. Engage them. Make them feel like their voice matters. Because when you go into a place, and I've been to many tables where I didn't look like the people around me. I was younger. I was different. And if I had a boss who was able to ignite my soul, make me feel comfortable to give my opinions, I gave value to that company. So number 3, I, don't choose control, ignite the soul. And the last one, P, my favorite, don't play small, play ball. Once you get that person in, you got to get into the game. You can't stay on the sidelines. You've got to get in there and see what they're doing with your system. It's just like any team. You have the same players, you have the same positions. You bring a new player in, they bring new talents. How do you play with that player? Don't play small, play ball.
Love that. Well, Christina, how do you manage tension without reverting back to fit?
That's good. Every one of us goes through different things at different times. And so I love the listening, really trying to listen to what's happening, because at any moment someone could be going through depression or divorce or freaking perimenopause, right? And the other people in the office don't understand what they're going through. And so as a leader, you stop and you start asking the questions. Try to uncover those things that are really going on in their lives, because there's a reason that you hired. Just like when you're in love at first, everything's happy-go-lucky and you're in love. Well, that's what it's like when you hire someone. And then you go through the stuff, right? The stuff and things, and it could be anything. So by asking those right questions and learning more about yourself, how to ask those right questions, so that way you uncover what's really going on, the core of it all. And a lot of it has to do with, self-awareness. Yeah.
So Beth, where have you seen companies fail after making a diverse hire or someone that doesn't fit but actually adds?
I think just not honoring their differences and their different perspective, and feeling threatened by it, and making sure that, you silence them, or, you make sure that they don't play ball, that that you're taking the ball away from them. So, I think that you really have to commit fully. I mean, we have a lot of people in our industry that say, that we want to hire young adult voices from the foster care system, but they don't really, and they don't listen, and they really dampen the soul and, of somebody. They don't ignite them, and they don't really let them even on the field. I love your example, so I'm going to just keep, throwing it back to what you've already created here. But yeah, I think just not, really being committed fully to those differences and to their strengths and to, what they can bring to the table, because your ego feels threatened or you like only harmony. I definitely love an organization with no drama, and we make sure that that's one of our missions. But you can have differences of opinion and respect without having drama.
Yeah, exactly. So why does this really matter? How does this actually impact your business and your growth? I would say, have you ever heard the statement, go slow down to go fast, right? Or fail forward fast is another example. Sometimes you have to recognize that you really do want to make decisions fast, but you need to make them better. And bringing in people that actually give a diverse thought will help you understand different perspectives and help you actually make that decision much better and faster too, right? And it's where innovation actually grows. If you all are thinking the same thing, then how can you be innovative? I also think about like family, right? My grandmother, she just turned 103, so shout out to my grandmother. She was six siblings, and the oldest sibling to the youngest sibling, you talk to their stories about their growing up in the same household, you think they came from completely different families, right? But if we think about like the different cultures we have, we're global now in today's world, the different generations, we now have 5, 6 different generations coming into the workforce. Wow, we all think differently on that perspective, right? And that's great, because when you're wanting to grow your business, depending on services, products, whatever you're doing, B2B, B2B, B2C, B2C, any other acronyms you want to throw in there, you want to be able to understand your audience. And if you're doing a large audience where you want to service multiple people, you got to be able to think differently, and having that thought from your different team members really helps grow your business. So along that lines, a question to Sherry, how does culture add show up in business results from your perspective?
Oh, well, I like to say you see what you're looking for. So you're talking about culture add. And when you invite somebody in, or somebody to the table that may be different than the norm of your culture, I forgot the question, but my point, I remember my point. My point is you see what you're looking for. So the problem I believe that we have a lot of times when we hire, we think, okay, we need to do this. We need to do this because we need change. But then we're afraid to change because we've been taught how to deal with control. When we look at friction or somebody's new ideas, we just naturally resist because we've been taught lead is to control. And so remember, you see what you're looking for. And I got to tell you, if you're looking you're looking at it as friction, as opposed to looking at this as new ideas and growth, you'll find friction. If you look at this as new ideas and growth, that is what you're going to find. It's like when you go out and you decide, our brains are wired to find what we're looking for. We decide on what car we're going to buy. That car is everywhere and everyone's driving it. You see what you're looking for. So when you hire and you decide what you're going to look for, and you'll find it.
Yeah, that's so funny. I've been looking for a car and now I see it everywhere.
Yeah.
So Christina, where have you seen it directly impact growth? Like maybe give an example, or even the innovation in a business.
Where a culture add has.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Ooh, well, I work with a lot of entrepreneurs in the trades industry, and where culture adds is tremendous. And the reason is because when you start adding people to operations of several different, industries that are out there, you start seeing who are the eager ones. Some people are really good on paper, and then they get there and they're not very good workers. They don't show up on time, or, they think they're in charge, and so on and so on. And by interviewing and adding certain people that maybe not have been in the industry before, but can add that value that you didn't see. I'm also a power connector. And so I've noticed that, hey, this industry over here does something different than that industry, but if they implemented it, it could actually work over here. And then holy shnikes, like everything explodes. So by adding that person from that angle of that industry into this one, you never know how it can explode. Like, yeah, somebody in education over here joins the trades groups, and the trades groups, they never do education. They stay in their lane. They're, plumbing and HVAC and all that stuff. And when it moves over here, damn, it just opened up a whole floodgate that no one even messed with. And all of a sudden, now you're thinking outside the box. Most people don't think outside the box. They are in their lane all the time. That's how worker bees work. And so we got to expand that, because then that one can do that, and that one can do that, and so on, and it just builds exponentially.
Yeah. How many of you guys have seen a job description where the industry is required? Yeah, see it all the time. As an HR professional, I want to gag because a lot of roles, HR, operations, finance, legal, so many roles, they don't need to be industry specific. I mean, it might be nice to have, but it shouldn't be a requirement, because at the end of the day, culture ad is how you actually move your business forward. And it's what makes companies scale. Here's an example. I worked for a startup, Silicon Valley startup, and we were stuck. Brought in a new CSO, didn't fit the culture at all. He was definitely a value add. Why? Because 6 months later, we signed 5 of the 7 tech companies. Can't name them, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Starts with an S, starts with an A, starts with a G. And within 6 months, we had these huge companies that were working with us. It moved the needle so fast that when we went to go and fundraise, we were trying to get just 30 million. We got 50. And like in half the time. So it really allowed us to move significantly faster by bringing in a different thought partner that could help us see what we were missing. All right, so hiring, the future of hiring. Christina, what's one thing a founder should change in their hiring process tomorrow?
Ooh, okay. So I don't know if you guys know this, but AI is here. And when they start adding AGI to lots of different things, this workforce will change.
Wait. So what is AGI for those that might not have
Artificial general intelligence. That's when it turns real. Like it can generate and operate by itself in a sense that it will continue to expand on its own, however that looks. Like you're just throwing it out there and letting it fall wherever. Like that's how it works. Anyway, so knowing that, the industries will start to shift. And so by hiring people with all sorts of different industry experience that know themselves and who they are, it will start to expand exponentially because the knowledge is there. You can tap into it. I mean, you can tap into it. It's super easy. It's there. That's where AI comes in. But when it comes to actually implementing the right tools and making sure the processes are in place properly, and how to expand from that point it's going to be, you're going to need it more than ever because autonomous transportation is here. Man, all those Uber drivers, all those taxi drivers, all the other drivers, Amazon, you name it, they're going to have to shift into a different industry. Where are they going to go? I know so many tech people right now that have been shifting into buying their own recession-proof businesses and franchises. It's happening, y'all. And knowing that, it's time to okay, how do I do this? How do I work with it? And so I guess I answered the question, but yeah. Things are shifting so rapidly in the next 5 to 10 years. Jump on board and be ready to ride that wave, y'all. Because it's going to change and it's going to split people. It's going to split this whole dynamic of America and the world. So, learn more.
Beth, how do you see the future of hiring panning out?
So for us in our industry as nonprofit, we definitely add more staff members to the hiring process to make sure that, again, we have that full perspective. And we're also very lucky in that we hire over 100 young adults every single year. So we personally get to pick and choose. And some of them even ask during the interview, like, hey, is there going to be a job at the end of this? And we say, probably not, because we have a full staff. We're not expanding at, enough rate where we're, able to hire 100 interns. But, for us, we get to see them in action for the 10-week internship that we hire them for. But then we also really make sure that, again, other people from the organization get a chance to talk to them and see if they feel that they're a good fit.
Sherry, would you like to add anything else?
Well, stay in my lane connection here. Hire a connection coach. I'm joking, but really, I'm going to say our generation because I know some of you are younger than me. But we've done a really good job teaching the next generation how not to connect. And, people are at their jobs. I mean, you look at any of these studies, they're at their jobs in part because of who they're working with, the teams they're working with. They enjoy their jobs because of the collaboration, that they have meaning there. And no matter if you hire the right person, if they don't feel like they have purpose or they matter to your business, they're not going to stay. They're going to go somewhere else where they matter. So in the hiring process, you also have to think, how am I going to support this individual so they can feel connected to my business mission, connected to the other employees, the other departments. And you don't want to let go of that. You're not just hiring a spot or filling a spot. You're filling this teamwork. And I like, another really quick piece that I just did is got a new advisory board. That's where I got my different culture fit. And it was hard for me to do because I was like, oh, they're going to really look at what I'm doing. But you know what it did? I was I say this in personal life, but just in business in general, laying a good life stopped me from a great life. And when you look at bringing different people in with different perspectives, that could take you from a good business to a great business. So don't let a good business stop you from a great business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I predict relationship-based conversations being more and more important every day. I joke that my AI will talk to your AI and they'll do all the work. So let's just focus on our relationship. But that's where I see it going. In fact, I'm already seeing it somewhat in the hiring process. You're seeing, hey, do this video with AI before you even talk to an internal recruiter. Do your assessments with AI before you even get to have a conversation with someone internally. So I'm already starting to see that a little bit. So Sherry, let me ask you this. At what stage does culture fit become dangerous for a company? Or,
if you're just doing it to stack up numbers and you're not, again, integrating this new idea, this person with these new ideas, this person that may not fit your company's norm, if you're not integrating them into the company and communicating as a leader and listening, like I said, don't focus on you, focus on who. If you're listening to reply and looking for things that they're not doing wrong, or things that they're doing wrong, as opposed to listening to identify what's lying underneath the way they're doing things, or maybe some questions they have. Also connecting, showing, leading by example, and again, getting in there and playing ball.
Yeah, I think integration is key there. I'll go back in the dinosaur ages when I had my first job out of college. My manager was hiring so fast, he didn't integrate anything. And 2 months later, I left because I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. Like literally his whole team was just sitting there waiting for him to come back and tell us what to do while he was out hiring. It was ridiculous. Yeah. Beth, what's one interview question that actually reveals culture that you've used?
We really, talked to the young adults that we're interviewing and the staff that we're interviewing, and we asked them, what is it that they expect from this job? So, we really look for, I want to grow, I want to learn, I want to listen, I want to, bring, strength and what my assets are to the team. And so that's really where we want to kind of get to know who they are and what their vision is, but what they expect to happen in the workplace.
Love it. And Christina, where do you see leaders, so let me ask this question differently. What do leaders need to unlearn to execute this?
That's good. I would say unlearn the idea that they're in control, that their workers are going to be with them for the rest of their lives, and they don't need to change. That's what I would say. And the reason is because everyone has different motivation and inspiration for being where they're at. If you're a good leader, good leaders think someone's going to move on, and great leaders know they're going to move on. And as a good leader, you do help them grow and think big. What that does is unlock loyalty, trust, faith, and in an unconscious world, like it unlocks so much inside someone's thinking big mindset. It just unravels who they could really become, and watch them soar, and they'll remember. It's the law of reciprocity. So that's how I feel about just expanding someone. You know, some people will work for someone because they're desperate, they need a paycheck, and then someone will work for someone else because they want equity with the company. Find out what it is that that person that you hired wants, that they need, that can help them grow big and help them believe in themselves. I think that's one thing we lack every day, is thinking, oh my God, what's the worst thing that's going to happen today? Like, what if this happens? What if this? Like, we're just drones to learn. Like, we're programmed this way. Let's unlearn all this shit that doesn't serve us anymore. Let go and let God. Like, that's pretty much how it rolls. So yeah, thanks.
Awesome. So what's the hardest part about executing this? Well, we all love to sit in our comfort. So if you could take one thing away from this conversation, is constantly asking yourself, am I sitting in uncomfortableness, or am I just coasting on my comfort level? And that will help guide you to know what to do next, not just with hiring, right, or managing people, but actually growing your business. I know we need to wrap up. So thank you, ladies. I hope this was helpful for you guys. We appreciate your time. And if you have any questions, we'll be all around. Happy to interact with you guys. Thank you.
Woo!